I made a crucial mistake of going, oh, the bottom point of where I was with trading taught me more than if I'd gained all the money in the world. Hello, I'm Hayden Bloomfield and welcome to the channel. Today's video, I lost over £1,400 in a single trade, and it was the best thing that could have happened to me with my trading. Sounds a bit backwards, but it was. Seriously, losing £1,400 in one trade taught me more than if I'd gained all the money in the world. And I'll talk you through why and how it taught me and the key lesson to take away, especially if you are someone that does trade and have taken a loss and such. It's just, hopefully this can help you and you can take some value from it in how to sort of overcome your losses and look at what the lessons are there. So I'll give you a bit of the background and the lead up to it. And so I'd started trading in June. I lost the money in August. So I'd only been doing it for a couple of months. I started with like a 10 grand account and had a bit of success and made a couple thousand. So yeah, we're talking, I lost pretty much a lot of the money that I'd made. But in the lead up to it, it was, I started trading with one of my best mates, and so it was a bit of competition between us and motivation equally, just to see like what tips and tricks we're working on and like what we can do to help each other out, what sort of ideas we've got brewing, and like especially when we are in minuses, and like I've seen trades I've done that have gone to minus 4,000, haven't had to exit, thankfully, but just in those moments having someone to work with and build on and just keep each other positive has been a really good thing. So in the build up to it, was one thing I've never done is had a £1,000 trade, a trade that has profited with £1,000 or more. And that was sort of something that I'd been working towards. I still haven't had it, but something that I am working towards one day having, but I've changed my mindset around it. So it's something that I was trying to build up to. I'd taken like some 400s, some 500s, 600, and the week leading before I lost the money, I had a trade that actually went to £1,000. And when it got to £1,000, I made a crucial mistake of going, oh, it's going to go higher. I was sat there watching, I just seen it hit £1,000 and just seen it was still climbing a little bit there. So I thought, oh, if I hold on to a bit longer, it will go even higher. The issue with this is you've got your target. If you start ignoring it, so if I had set firm my target of £1,000, I would have seen £1,000, exited and made £1,000. Whereas I didn't. I just kept moving that target. And the problem is, if you're moving that target, you'll never reach it. You could say, oh, £1,000, 1,200. Oh, it's hit 12. I'm going to make it 1,250 now. Oh, it's hit 1,250. I'm going to make it 1,400. You just will never get it, and it will just drop. So what happened in this situation is I hit £1,000 and thought, oh, I want to try and go for 1,250 or whatever. And so I set a stop loss at 600. And surely, what do you think I came away with? Did I come away with 1,250 or did I come away with 600? Came away with 600. So still a great result. However, it's in that moment of essentially it's greed and just moving that bar constantly. Whereas if you set your target, you see it there, it's in front of you, take it. Don't, even if the stock carries on climbing, it doesn't matter. You've taken that trade, you've had that success. And so on that day, obviously I took £600 instead of 1,000, which you'd think I'd be very happy making £600 on a trade. However, all I could focus on, I've talked about goal setting and my own mindset around it, all I could focus on was the fact that I had missed this £1,000 opportunity. So to me, I was at a loss of £400 because I took 600. Whereas I'm not, I'm up 600, but I saw a loss of 400. And so the next day I was in another trade and I was watching it. And this is where it really started. This was like the bottom point of where I was with trading in terms of how it was controlling my emotions and my actions. And it had just overcome with me. And thankfully I went through this very early on and sort of recognized what the issue was. So the next day I'm in a trade and I see it climb and it's going 500, 600, 700. It gets to 700, I'm watching thinking, I'm not going to set a stop loss because yesterday I put a stop loss in and it took the stop loss and I didn't get my £1,000. So this time I was like, no, I'm not going to set a stop loss. I carried on watching, and as I said, it was climbing, it got to 700. I was like, right, I'm going to take £1,000. Bear in mind, this was in the evening and I had sort of done everything, I was relaxing for the day, but instead of actually having an evening where I could crack on with things or just enjoy myself, I'd suffered an injury from working, and so I needed to relax and like let it heal. So I was having a bath. I don't have baths, so I was having a relaxing bath. But rather than actually having that time and that moment to myself and relaxing and resting, I was in the bath overhanging, just watching my phone, see what it does. Whereas in reality, when you rationally consider the situation, they're watching numbers and it's £700. Exit the trade, put your phone down, lay in the bath, have a smile on your face because you've just made £700. Whereas instead, I was focused on yesterday, I missed £1,000 opportunity. I'm actually at a loss of £400 because I didn't make the £1,000. So now I need to do £1,000. Oh, I probably need to do £1,400 in order just to make myself feel good. Irrational. And so I'm sat there watching the trade and it gets to 700, it gets to 750. It then tanks it and drops. And suddenly I see it dropping down. I'm going 700, 600, 500. It took an hour and a half to climb up to the point where I needed for it to get to 750. And in the space of 10 minutes, I saw it go down and I was at 300, 200, 100. And then next thing I know, I'm heading towards zero. So I just exited the trade with £6.99. So a trade that could have been 700, 750 became £6.99. But that is really where the problems were, where I was so focused on this moving target. And in trading, you've got to have the discipline. So my best mate, he has a daily target. When he enters every trade, he's got a daily target. If he hits that, he's done. If it goes above it, it goes above it. But he will not take less than that daily target. Well, he'll aim for that daily target. Anything with that, his mind goes, yes, I succeeded. I've reached my daily target. He'll surpass it a lot of the time, but his psyche is focused on hitting that target. But I never had that, and I'm still developing what would be my daily target. And that's something that I like the idea of, and experimenting with the idea. So it gives you something to strive for each day. But in that moment is where it was all going downhill for me. And so I came away from that. And then it was the next week where I entered the trade that I ended up losing 1,400 because I took a short position and it just kept on climbing. It was going up and up and up. And I just wasn't sure it was going to come back down. So it was a week in, I was in quite a lot of overnight fees. You pay an overnight fee. If you don't know about day trading, you pay an overnight fee when you hold your trade overnight. So I built up 40 quid or something in overnight fees. So it's been quite a while. And that obviously had meant that I wasn't trading in other things. I wasn't able to make profit elsewhere. So it was a Monday morning. I just thought, no, I'm going to set a stop loss at 1,200 or 1,250, whatever, because I think it is going to start going down today. But just in case, if it does go up, I'm just going to take the loss and accept it. And I'd sort of tried to focus on the fact that I was going to lose that 1,200. Sure enough, it went up. So I lost an exit. But then set my stop loss at 1,200, but I actually ended up losing 1,400 plus the overnight fees. So it was quite a substantial loss. And in that, luckily I'd managed to have a big wake up call and really rationalise and consider what my behaviour had been like with trading on the week leading up to it. Because I remember that day I missed out on £1,000 and then the following day missing out on the £700. I could not get to sleep, laying there awake all night. I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. This is a side hustle. It's just something I'm experimenting with. I'm collating data to see. And in a previous video, I said about targets I'd set, and I'd set some ridiculous targets for myself to achieve financially with trading that just aren't realistic because I'm so new to it. I don't have the wisdom and the practice within myself to know and understand what I can achieve with it. So that's where my mind changed, and I took this loss, and that's where I had a lot of reevaluating. And thankfully, I'd managed to flip my mindset just before I took the loss because I had accepted, I was prepared, I knew what I was going to have to lose, and I did. But then that's where everything transforms for me, and I was able to then start looking at trades completely different. And we're only talking, I've moved on a couple of weeks since, and I've obviously performed better with trading. I've managed to make better quality trades and not necessarily financially profit more money, but when I look at the trades, I've still made some more progress and seen other things I've learned since. But those key factors that I took away from those losses and those trades that weren't as good as they could have been, I've realised what the lesson was there. And lessons, I think if you are a trader or if you want to get into trading, this is definitely something to consider. But like, if you trade, comment below what you think of this. So like, this is something I've considered, is have your daily target, have a financial figure that you're striving for. That can change, that target can move up. Obviously, if you've got an account, my friend and I would do it differently. One of us keeps an account with a set figure, whereas if we started with like a 10 grand account, one of us keeps the 10 grand, the other one's building. And so your daily target could change if you're building your account. Obviously, if you're saying I want to make £100 a day, if you build your account up, you might say I want to make £200 a day, 300, 400, 500. But start with your daily target and don't be so drawn on achieving it. The key factor is, if you don't achieve it, it's not a failure. It's just means that you haven't lost money. So brilliant. And you will, I don't want to say you will lose money, but it's very likely there will be times where you will lose money trading, but it's just making sure you control those losses and you are disciplined when they come. And it's about preparing your mind ready for those losses. And I think if you can start with an account, make it a slow journey before you start using money in trading. My friend and I took two different approaches. One of us did paper trading, where you set up an account with however much money you want. They set up a 10 grand account that's just fake money, so Fugazi. So you just have this account on the platform and you just trade each day, and they'd managed to turn their 10 grand account into 40 grand in the space of 3 months. So they'd been practicing for a substantial amount of time, and they carried on after that 3 months. I think it was in total about a year, when I think back. So yeah, as I said, one of us had that strategy, the other one had the strategy of sort of watching and discussing it, and then doing a bit more research, and then starting straight away with real money, but with a small account of just £1,000, and just going, right, I've got £1,000, I'm going to fiddle. Because it was, while one strategy seems better in the sense that you were practicing for a long time, the other strategy came with a lot more understanding and sticking to one company to trade with and understand that company inside out. So therefore, the stock price was a lot more assessed and had more wisdom around it rather than the others. Both different strategies, but obviously started with £1,000 account and then started making money consistently. Then once consistency was there for a month or so, added in 10 grand to the account so that it was a full account to work with. And both different, take your own approach. It's your money, but that's the key thing. I'm not trying to say you should day trade. I'm not trying to say it's a good idea or a bad idea. I'm trying to say I lost 1,400. This was the key lessons I took away from it. So if you are, as I said, it's practice with it first to build that consistency up. But setting a target for each day, I think, is a fundamental. But as well is keeping the second thing I'll say, which is definitely important, and I will challenge anyone that disagrees, is keep stats. Know what trades you're making, how many trades you're making, what losses you're taking, what wins you're taking, what's your monthly average, all these different things. So like I have a spreadsheet, I've mentioned in previous video, I have a spreadsheet where I collate all that data so I can track, which what it means is I've set those ridiculous targets initially, but now that I've got that data, as I'm building it up for the next 6 months, when we come into the new year, I can then set real quality targets of what I want to achieve in trading. And so, yeah, point number 2, make sure you keep your stats. And if you're not sure, if you're not sure what stats you want to keep, just like comment below and I can email you the spreadsheet I use, so then you can collect that data. I mean, the data I use is purely based around what I want to know and what I want to see with my trading, so that I can note it down. As I said, I check what my monthly profit is the most important thing, as well as much other, seeing how many trades I make, what the average profit is, what the highest profiting trade is that month, and such. So 2 points to start with, and then third point I'm going to say is just about your own mental capacity. So if you're trading with real money, you've got to accept that capital is at risk, which is a very important point that you will be warned of as soon as you open your account. But realize that capital is at risk and have the discipline, because this is where the benefit of both my friend and I, we'd run businesses, so we'd been used to managing money. We'd been used to, every business starts by investing capital which is run at a loss before you start making profit. So we were used to the idea that it's a long-term game. We're in here to experiment before we actually expect to start seeing results. But we did see results quite quickly. But the point is to have that experience managing money is a key factor that I think has helped me do so well with it. When I say do so well, I mean not lose loads of money. And even making those losses, it's again, in having had that experience in business, I've had to have jobs that turned out to take twice as long as I expected. I've had tools break down and just suddenly has an expense come through that's £500, £2,000. I've been used to having that kind of challenge brought my way. Whereas before business, I mean, I don't own my own home. But people that have got their own homes and bills to pay, they're definitely used to it as well. But just, if you have got experience, that will help a lot in just managing money, being able to have the mindset of, I'm doing this, I'm going to make losses here, and being able to look at a situation and evaluate when is the right moment to lose money and win money. So as I said, I was in this position where I'd shorted and it was going up, but I could have held on. But if I did hold on, I would now be talking to you about losing 3-4 grand, not 1,400. But in that moment, I took the 1,400 loss, but then it's meant that since then I've managed to make more money. So if I'd waited and held, I would have lost 3-4 grand, plus I wouldn't have made the money that I've made in the time in between. So that's the key factor. I hope this has helped, and yeah, comment below. If you are a trader as well, it'd be great to talk and see how you're getting on and what your style is and how you trade, what you trade. But yeah, I just trade shares. I obviously just trade Tesla. I just every day buy and sell based around how it's performing, and I've learned a lot in that time. And as I said, I keep all the data, which I'll keep you guys up to date with, and I'll definitely have more lessons to share on trading. But these are 3 things that I've taken away. So I hope it's been valuable. I hope it helps. And comment below if there's anything you think I've missed. Comment below. Click like, subscribe, because you'll get plenty more videos. Thank you.